Oh, why you no game? Streets of Rage. Hello, all you wonderful people out there. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Why You Know Game. This one is about the Streets of Rage franchise and how I think, sadly, Sega has completely wasted the potential of this series and how great it could be. Um, but I mean, it's one of those things where people have wanted this series for a long time, and it's it's nowhere to be found. It is just not anywhere to be found, with the exception of ports of the game, which just happen to end up pretty much all over the place. And I think that's not really a good thing for the franchise. We After Streets of Rage 3, which in Bare Knuckle 3 in Japan, Streets of Rage 3 and Bare Knuckle 3 had two completely different stories. And I think that the storyline for Bare Knuckle 3 was actually better, but it was changed when it was brought westward. But Streets of Rage 3 actually was the harder game in comparison. So if I don't know. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, Sega, there's a lot of potential here. And if you guys would stop wasting money on things that you don't need to make and actually put forth your money into your IPs, you could rise back up to be one of the great developers in gaming again. And this is just from somebody who's a fan of the series and all of the things that Streets of Rage could tie into. See, if Sega was thinking and they were actually using their minds here, Streets of Rage could be to Virtua Fighter what Final Fight is to Street Fighter, or was to Street Fighter. That's another thing. There's Capcom fucked that up, but that's beside my point right now. The games were good. They're beloved by a lot of people, and I understand maybe they're worried about moving this game into the 3D realm. But they had an opportunity. They had a real opportunity in the past to bring this game series back. And that is with what you're seeing me play right now, Streets of Rage Remake, the game that they put out a cease and desist on once it got to version 5.0, I believe, and I think 5.1 just ended up leaked because, I mean, it was there and might as well get used instead of just be sitting around. But Sega had been contacted by Bomber Link several times throughout the process of him and his team developing Streets of Rage Remake. If Sega was proactive about that, they could have taken the Streets of Rage Remake game and rebirth the franchise from that game. I mean, granted, there are some things I would change about the way Streets of Rage Remake was done, like with certain paths, but it's not like I'd change anything that makes the game good. It's just like one of the story paths isn't quite what it should be, so it would need to be flipped around a bit. But that's about it. That's about the only change I would make. But Sega had the opportunity to look at this game and possibly take it, and they could have taken it and put it on multiple platforms. They could have made it online, and then all of the people who are making these amazing mods that you see me play on my channel, they could have been the development team for this game for like DLC and stuff like that. And then there could have been a possibility of like crossovers with other games, especially with Final Fight. And I'm looking at this as like all these people that love the franchise, that want to see more of the franchise, that are working on modifications for this game and its engine for this particular franchise because they love it. And Sega's like, well, whatever. You can't make this. You can't do this because it's our IP. But they say nothing to billions of Sonic fan games and hackers out there. And I'm like, Why? Why? And it's not like they're doing anything with it. They're sitting on it. Now, if Sega was smart, they would have gone, when Bomberlink was trying to contact them, they would be like, okay, let's look at this. Okay, it looks like it's a solid game. There's a few things that could be tweaked, a couple things that could be fixed, but it looks solid. We should back them, give them our support. We should take them on. We could make them our Streets of Rage development team. We could make them our Streets of Rage development team. I'm going to say that one more time again. We could make them our Streets of Rage development team. And with the modders in the community, they would have had a hell of a team, and they would have been putting together amazing. Like, they would have put together a game, and then they would have had a crap ton of DLC that people would have happily paid for. Happily paid for if it was available to them in a very easy way to get. And then from there, they could have connected Streets of Rage to Virtua Fighter. And if they still had the Shenmue IP, if they still had it, they could have connected that to Virtua Fighter, which it actually originally was supposed to be anyway, but they separated the connection before the game was released. But they could have reconnected all that and could have put Yo Hazuki in Virtua Fighter. They could put Axel, Adam, Blaze, Max, Zan, Skate, or Sammy, or Shiva. All of them could have been in that Streets Rage in Virtua Fighter. They all could have been in that game. They still could be in that game. But Sega, for some reason, has not utilized these characters for jack shit. And I'm surprised that Axel Stone ended up in Project Cross Zone 2. I'm actually happy he did. Maybe Sega will get in their mind like, oh, maybe if we use these characters and people see them more often, they'll figure out who they are, and they might like them. And I swear it's like a bunch of companies are just sitting on IPs that were amazing, and they just stopped making them. And I understand the ones that ended on a bad note, but there are several that ended on a high note that just stopped showing up. And I'm like, wow, why not? I mean, if they were thinking about this the way I'm thinking about this, they could have made a shit ton of fucking money. But they didn't. Because Streets of Rage Remake is awesome as it is. It would be better to be able to have online play and play with other people. But I understand that the resources that Bomberlink had didn't allow for that. So, and he tried. I've seen the stuff document that he tried to make this game like a 4-player multiplayer online co-op experience where you could play the game together. If Sega got behind it, they could have actually given this game 4-player co-op, and then all those mods could be DLC games, like DLC stories. And they didn't. It was like they could have put the base game out for like $30, and each DLC story could have been between $2 to $5. But it didn't happen because Sega. I'm sorry, but you guys are a bunch of idiots right now. Unfortunately, when y'all strike on something good, it's like, okay, it was good. People liked it, but whatever. And I don't get them. I don't get that with you guys. Like, same thing with Capcom, but I'm stepping away from that for right now. I see the potential where this game could have gone, and doors that it could have opened up for Sega if they had accepted it and backed it instead of shutting it down. If they had backed it instead of shutting it down, Streets of Rage could be a current living series for Sega right now. But it's dead. It's like somebody just stuck its feet in some bricks and threw it in the ocean. That's basically what they did when the opportunity was presented to them. And like I said, they just screwed the pooch on this one. But that's it. I'm done. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more of my stuff. Until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out, people.